Hi everyone. Today we are talking about salary delays.
Drum roll.
Salary
Something everybody can relate to.
salary delays. Is it a sign of a weak company or is it something else?
They just don't send the staff.
They don't
disregard. Or when I pay you when I feel like paying you kind of vibe.
And
I think you should take a side.
so I've had a few experiences. So and it's been a mix of both. So okay, one of my experiences was the company was going through a difficult period.
We are going through a lot.
So they're going through a lot. The company was going through a lot, and they had difficulty with cash flow. So I remember that it was not normal. It was not something that was normal. Usually they'll pay on time.
Okay.
But for like 2 months or 3, they were misbehaving.
That doesn't count.
And that's why I said
that
why
so doesn't count. I mean, any understanding staff or even,
which is why I said we had.
So that's been your singular experience.
No, I said in multiple different experiences with different companies.
Okay.
This particular company, they were having issues. Cash flow was an issue, and I know that for like 2-3 months they were moving things around, just trying to pay salaries. So we were understanding.
Yeah.
So that one, it was obviously condition. The economy were in a recession. The economy was struggling. Macros were.
How long ago was this?
This over 10 years.
Okay.
Well over 10 years. Most of them are over 10 years.
Okay.
There was one, they didn't send us. And it was not the company, it was the finance people.
Is it that place?
No, a different company. The finance person was just ridiculous.
Before you say the finance person was ridiculous or he didn't send you, I think we need to talk about the foundation. How many companies have a salary day policy? Like, this is the day we pay. So when you don't have a day that you pay, finance can do whatever they like. There's no SLA. Nobody is breathing down their necks that you've not paid salary. Mind you, the people that can scare finance are the big boys. They are never broke. So you need to have a day when it doesn't shake. We pay on the 25th or the 26th so that people can plan their lives.
So this reminds me of a conversation I had with one of my guys. He's a consultant. He consults for SMEs. And frankly, he will tell you that a large chunk, in fact, larger chunk of his clients don't have structure. So they don't have those policies. They don't have those things that say, oh, you'll be paid on the 25th or you'll be paid on
the 25th falls on a Friday. On a Sunday or Saturday, you'll be paid the Friday before.
So they don't have any of that. So in that scenario, of course, the employees will be suffering this kind of situation where they don't even know when the salary comes in.
Yeah, I think it's mental too.
And I don't want to say whether it's Nigerian company or non-Nigerian company.
It is. Let's be honest, because we've walked around.
Yeah.
In fact, the only places that it has ever happened to me
were Nigerian companies.
Yeah. Okay, say for one, and they were going through a struggle.
So,
and we all knew that they were going through a struggle. But whenever there was no struggle, we got paid when due. So when I worked, there was one Nigerian company in the financial sector. The policy was obeyed to the letter. And their policy was that salaries last day of the month. Now, it was so, what's the word now? You could bank on it so much that if 31st was a Sunday and you are in church, your salary will come.
Oh, so they didn't have that scenario where
if it's Friday, last day of the month, anywhere you are, in February, wherever you are on the 28th, if it's a Friday, if it's a public holiday, your salary will come.
Really?
I don't know how they used to do it.
Really?
So that one gave me this.
No, that one I can understand how.
You just know that anything come what may. Now, on the flip side, I've worked in places where, trust me, 24th, 25, 26, you're just like, well, we're in God's hands. So anything that wants to
Were
happen.
they international companies or Nigerian companies?
One of them, the most notorious, was a Nigerian company.
The most notorious.
Nigerian company that brags on LinkedIn and does all that. And I'm like,
that's
look
the
at
most
this one.
painful thing.
But
That's the most
it
painful one.
was just so bad that, you know, sometimes sometimes on 25th, 26th, was it the MD or something? The MD would just walk, they'll say, people are owing us money. You people should go and chase the money if you want to get your salary. So I will not go and look at my letter of appointment. If my salary was tied to chasing people for money, they will not, they use us to catch crews. Near salary time, they will come up with one policy that they will know that ordinarily people will say this doesn't make sense or this is childish. They will come up with it. People will start running helter-skelter just to collect money. Even me, I'll find myself begging my colleagues that, guys, let's just calm down and do this thing. Let's just collect money. They can just come on the 24th that they need one report that does this, and shows this, and they need it in 72 hours.
Because they know that.
And guess what? Until you do it, no salary. And they will say it with open chest.
No, that one, that's punitive. That's horrible.
It's horrible. Now you're getting my point. Now, I also know that the company was going through a bad phase at that time. And they were trying to cover up. But yes.
The way you've described it doesn't matter how
you put it.
Obviously, they had no structure. Obviously,
trust me, they did. Though.
The culture was nasty.
For a Nigerian company, the structure was impressive.
So if they had structure and they're not paying on time,
they didn't have money.
So the cash flow was an issue.
Cash flow. That's why we are chasing money now. But then again, there is also the bit of, you know,
even the way they talk about
disregard.
No, but because
there was disregard, and then there was no money.
Because if, let's say, it's a company that had great culture, and the company was going through dire straits, they had issues with cash flow. There's a way they will talk, that will
even inspire more performers. Like, guys, we need to we need to
not the way you said that if you don't do this you won't get salary.
Go and chase invoice.
So so maybe yes, they had structure, but the company culture was shitty.
They had total disregard for people. And that's why, in fact, one of the headlines today is, why is it very relevant in this economy now that in this economy you can't plan, you don't have money? Because one thing I realized about salary delays is you now make it look like people can't plan. If people find themselves borrowing, people that have no business borrowing, they've planned their life and then salary is delayed by 1 week.
So it affects your credibility even when you want to maybe take a loan or do something, or you want to return a loan, you know,
and you're already defaulting with all this credit check and everything.
So you know, while you were talking about that reminded me of even our economy as a whole. The real problem we had with Forex changing as often as it used to change was because it was not stable, and that affected credibility of the country as a whole. So if that's happening to the country as a whole, talk less of you as an individual.
Exactly. So if you were to start a new job today, and you know, let's say they pay on the 25th, and by 7th of April you've not received your salary, what will your impression be?
25th of the month, and by 7th
of the following month, your first month.
This one is not, it's going to be on red flag.
What would you do? Would you tell yourself, I've got, let me start looking for another work?
Yes. You won't give them
benefit of the doubt.
Was there a communication from the company that your salary will be delayed?
Even though
if there was no communication before, if there was no acknowledgement even after, it's a red flag. It's a red flag.
Do you know that I worked somewhere? I was new. I joined in maybe February, March, and my first salary was late. I was like, okay. But it was one of those jobs where the salary was one of the main reasons why the salary was heavy.
You'll be humble with that one.
I was humble, but I felt it was weird. Then I was now talking to one of my direct reports, and he told me that I'm complaining for one week, that they didn't get paid for Christmas. I said, he said it was the worst Christmas of his life. That on Christmas Day he hadn't been paid. They paid for December, sometime first week of January, maybe 4th or 5th.
That's irresponsible.
He said, so what am I, that's how it is here. Oh.
That's irresponsible.
I said, what?
So they obviously, so in that scenario, is it a cash flow issue or they don't regard the staff?
Is an everything issue. All of the above. They don't regard the staff. I would say cash flow issue, but it has to do with bad planning, poor management decisions. You know, because after that they laid people off, and every time salary was delayed for 2 to 3 months, they will lay people off. It was like
2 to 3 months.
Yeah, like if salary is late after maybe January, February, March, salary was late, by April they will lay people off. Lay people off. So when the guy said, I said no salary for, I will go mad. He said, so why am I shouting? He said, he's a man. He cried that he was looking at his children like this Christmas. They couldn't do anything. No? And you don't want to be borrowing for Christmas. Like,
no, this one.
So when I heard that, I started tightening my trousers.
First of all, you need to plan.
Yes.
Just in case.
But the money was big for me at that time. So whenever it was late, once they pay and I just see the bill like this, I said, God thank you. God thank you. If it's late and I get this guy, I don't mind. But you know, they always say, how many months does it take to get used to new salary?
3 months.
3 months, 4 months. So by the 5th month, I was like, what's going on? What kind of rubbish is this now?
I remember once they didn't want to promote me. Earlier, I'm sure I've told that story before. And one of the justifications then was that, okay, you're too young. Then my CMO at that point in time, he called me that, okay, you're young, you're pushing for promotion. The truth about life is that within 3 months, this new salary, you get you.
Were you, let's be clear, were you pushing for promotion solely because of salary?
No.
Or because of...
I deserved it.
So it wasn't, you
it was not just, so for that argument was nonsense.
Yes.
As far as I was concerned. But I took that information, and to be honest, after then, when he said it, with the promotions coming, with the new jobs I've had, his information was correct.
Oh yes, it is. I know.
Within 3-4 months, you are used to it.
It will be like you want to start struggling to be doing calculation and money that was shacking you before. So another thing to actually talk about is communication. You had mentioned it.
I think that's the real.
If you communicate and you tell me it's going to be delayed, and you are communicating every month, it still doesn't make it good.
No, so it doesn't make it good. And this is why I think a lot of people don't pay enough attention to culture. I keep talking about culture. So it's one thing for the company to be doing well or not doing well, or you have a wider macro issue where the economy is really tough. It's another thing to build a culture where obviously you can't tell your people everything, but you build that culture where they understand that there's something happening in this environment. We're struggling to either generate revenue to get new customers, or we provided a service but our customers have not paid.
Okay.
And now I was saying it, I remember a scenario where we're heading towards December. We had done a lot of services and a lot of our funds were out there. And we had to hit targets. We gathered everybody, sales, marketing, everybody. We went to join the treasury guys, the guys that are responsible for collections. All of us went with them on their visits to beg that, please.
But was it solely for salary purposes?
No, it was not for salary in this case. But in this scenario, I was trying to make a point around culture to the extent that, yes, whether it's salary or not salary, there's a way you communicate, have open communication with your team. You don't need to tell them everything, but they need to understand that we are in dire straits, especially if it's not a normal thing.
If it's a one-off thing, but if it now becomes like the one I told you about,
if it's a normal thing, like the guy was saying, that the guy said, if it's a normal thing, this is normal. That is culture, actually. that is really poor. That's culture in relation to remuneration. That don't expect your salary on any day. You might be owed 2 months, 3 months. You understand? That's actually culture. So it depends on if it's not a regular thing. In that scenario, open communication. You need to ideally communicate before it happens. Even if you miss it, then you acknowledge it and explain. Because to be honest, people have worked for them.
I also understand that
they have rights now.
Yes, they have rights.
They have rights.
And you made them a promise. I understand that some employers, maybe when they feel like some people are not performing, that's when they
It's complete nonsense.
and sack them. Let them go and find where they will perform.
It's complete nonsense. It is not fair.
It's bullying.
It's so horrible. People have worked and you.
But it's happening.
No, it happens.
A lot.
In fact, as you are talking, I'm now thinking about in my mind, people that work for government. You know, when they say they've not paid
They're for 6 months.
I'm like, how?
And you expect them to come to work
every day? How do you even
Let me tell you why I think the government people can go to work every day. Because they find ways and means to make money from their desk. Otherwise, if you are somebody that depends solely on you, you won't go to work now.
Is this scenario that really pushes corruption?
Yes, it is. It is.
You know, then we'll now start complaining about the civil service. Yes, the civil service has.
Well, you're not paying them. First of all, you're not paying them well enough and on time. So what are they supposed to do?
So I digress. You know, I served with the police.
Wait, I need to be very dramatic. What?
Police. I served with the police. So as you were talking at this, I would say they don't pay them well. To be honest, because of my experience serving with the police, I actually empathize with them.
I noticed that there was something off about you.
You're
like since I've known you, You're
not serious.
You always say anything for boys, anything for boys. Something there, but I cannot put my finger on. Like, I want to. So you serve with police. Wow.
So my NYC was with police, and although I was not in the finance department, but a lot of my friends were in finance department, so I knew what police earned, and it's
disgusting, bro. It's disgusting.
Embarrassing.
I don't know, but
as I then embarrassing, I can't say
why I empathize with the police since we have digressed, and you know, I have this. I'm of the school of thought that no man, ordinarily, with his pride and ego, would just beg. Ordinarily. So when you see them on the road, wait, I'm coming. When you see them on the road, trust me, I feel like even though they make it sound, they make it friendly sometimes. I don't think it's as easy for them as we think. They don't have a choice. They're trying their best.
That's their own PP.
Yes.
That's their own PP.
What can they do? Like, so honestly, I don't think any man will just say, I'm going out today. I'm going to stay. So I'm sure some of them, when they get home, they will look at it and say, how long do I have to do this for?
So, you know, as we're talking about...
In fact, they're the perfect example of salary delay.
I don't know about delay, but...
Delay and denial and everything.
So it's in this scenario, it's a living wage. Even if, whether it's delay or not.
But you know the delay, they are paid a lot too. Sometimes they're not paid for months.
So, in that... Actually, you're right. Actually, you're right.
I won't mention one name of one.
No, don't.
They say used to keep their money in account and take interest.
So in that scenario, salary delay, but even beyond salary delay, is not even having a living wage.
That can what they call it, take home pay.
Yeah,
can't take you home.
So in some cases, I understand.
In fact, that should be topic for another day. What should be take home pay?
Now
we need to actually treat that on a separate day.
It is. We need to invite somebody to help us too. Yeah, because with this economy,
cost of living,
sometimes I'm like, how?
A friend in UK asked me like 2 months ago that, Adesh, if I wanted to come back to Lagos now, I'm not trying to live like a king. I'm not trying to do lao. I'm not trying to be a big boy. What do you think is a minimum wage that will give me a decent life? By decent life, you will have a nice apartment, with a generator, buying petrol, either maybe service charge or personally, children going to good schools, drive a decent car. I even think traveling once a year is already entering upper class now in Nigeria, because for you to have enough disposable income to do that, you are soft. So let's even take out traveling. To live a decent life in, let's even say Lekki phase 1 now, just a flat. Do you know how much you need to earn in a month to pull it off? When I told him my rough estimate, he said, and in all of this, I don't have peace of mind of how many hours a day I will have light.
I mean, leave UK people.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Then he will come, then they will owe him salary. They will delay his salary. You know, those then over there, they can't even
no, leave you. So leave. You know, I don't like doing this kind of.
It's not apples for
it's
apples.
Never apples to apples.
But he's not trying to do apples to apples. He said, if I want to come to Lagos and lead a decent life, the cost wasn't funny.
No, it's not funny. I have a friend who came back, who's come back, and it's not funny. I'll just leave it at that. It's not funny.
But so back to the delay issue.
Yeah,
we've talked a lot about the bad. Let's also talk about the good.
Is there a good to delay?
No. Like the people that don't delay, you've had good experiences.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you've worked in 10 places, how many out of the 10 will you say have been good?
80%.
Okay. I think that's a fairly decent. Some people, their whole career, anyway, depending on the company, one man industry, one man. But I worked somewhere that if salary is 25th, 2 a.m. on the 25th, your money will come in.
Are you serious?
Baba, 2 a.m.
Actually,
coming. My first month there, the salary was so early, I freaked out. Or I freaked out. The salary was supposed to be 25th.
It came early.
Then 25th was a Monday. He paid on 22nd.
Yeah.
And I resumed maybe that month. I resumed maybe the 10th of that month.
So within 12 days,
I was like, what's going on here? I said, no, it's too early now. It's too early. I can wait till Monday.
Monday. So I've been lucky, obviously, to have worked for companies like that, you know, they have structure, they pay on time. In fact, one of the companies I've worked for, they pay like this one, they pay early. So sometimes they're like, because in your brain, I don't know whether it happens to you or other people, there's a cycle.
Yeah.
So when it comes too early, it affects that cycle. You're happy,
but when it's early, like
especially if you are a spendthrift,
like you.
No. I used to be. I'm good now. No.
And I like you like that. That's why I like you. I'm enjoying it. I'm benefited from it. So don't change.
So if you are a spendthrift and it comes early, you now be spending what you shouldn't spend because you're out of your cycle. So it's still a positive at the end of the day that's coming early. But that now becomes a case of discipline.
So we used to have a joke somewhere I worked, and again, our MD was our guy. So he used to do ward rounds, he would go around. So maybe his salary is due on 24th and they've not paid by like 3 o'clock. So if he comes to my table, I'll just be looking. He will say, you're not working. I'll say, you've not renewed your subscription. You've not renewed your subscription for the next month. Last month's salary ended 10 a.m. today. The guy will be laughing.
But
of course, he used to laugh with us. In fact, we did a lot of rubbish then because the company was a startup then. It's not a startup anymore. I don't even, it was like a pioneer. It's now very big.
Oh, I know.
You know the place. Yeah. So, we were so close that one guy, he was going on leave. He was supposed to travel. He was expecting salary. So then the MD had to press something to authorize. And so sometimes it's not intentional. He has just not been in the office. That time
people start sending him text.
There was some things you couldn't do on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
So, maybe he's doing word round. So one guy was at the airport. Rumor has it that the guy called him and said, Baba, press this. Press this thing now. I'm about to go. I don't have any money. That's how close people
Really?
are. Yeah, like we could laugh about it.
That's great culture.
Yeah, and I don't know if the culture now is so big.
No, when companies
Once
get
you grow,
bigger,
yeah.
you know, and that's why sometimes early employees they get a little disgruntled when it gets
So I've been hearing a
bigger.
lot of that.
Yeah.
That there's so many people, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, because you know, I was about to say something that I know you don't like. When they are small, maybe 10, 15, they treat it like family. I know they treat it like family.
I mean, it was a very cute family. We used to have we had our fights, but yeah, you know, now I realize that he was actually a wise guy. When I joined the company as a newbie, he used to say something. He used to say, anything your boss does or that I do or anybody in management does that offends you, don't ever think that there is an ulterior motive, that they don't like you. It's either for the good of the company or for your own benefits, even though you don't see it now.
Not every time.
Yes, but
Not every
but talk
time.
about a motivational speech.
So if
And
that,
then, to be honest, eventually it started to
no,
feel
I
true.
agree, I agree.
So I don't think he was lying,
Because
because
he wasn't lying in his own case.
yeah,
So most times they're doing it for the benefit of the company. In many cases, they're doing it for your own development. But you have that maybe 0.5%
0.1%, of course.
of
yeah.
vindictive, horrible bosses.
It was not allowed in that it was totally not allowed. Totally. So when he says things like that, you're like, okay. And every time something bad happens and you complain, when he starts to hear that people are complaining for about, let me tell you another thing he used to do. When he starts to hear that people are complaining for about 2 weeks, he will call like a town hall.
No, he's a good guy.
Baba,
He's a good guy.
when this guy finishes breaking down why they took the decision, the people that have been shouting, everybody will just cover their head in shame.
So that's what, remember I talked about open communication.
You don't work out.
That's what that is.
Like, I hope my name will not come up as one of the people that was murmuring. No, I respect him today.
So why I was insisting that you have that 0.5% or 1% of
we're
bosses,
human now.
because I won't lie, I've had a boss that will throw you
under the bus. You're rhyming. A boss that will throw you under the bus.
Horrible person. So in everything, let's say you have a conversation. When I go back to my desk, I'll need to send an email to say,
Just to say,
following our conversation.
That's a toxic environment. That's toxic.
So was the environment itself toxic? You had to cover your back.
Just
because
to make sure.
the person will deny you. He will deny you.
Wow.
He will throw you under the bus. So if you have conversation, if they do this.
That means you'll be recording some conversations.
No, now it will be easier to record now with technology. But then,
I thought it was a recent.
No. It's been a while.
So anyway, back to the topic. We've now addressed the why companies should stop it and what is the cure for it. So is the cure that in one case where I worked, they just couldn't afford the number of staff that they had, and in their mind, we're expanding. I work in a sector where you bid for government funding or grants. Now the best professionals, they are always hot commodity. So people always try to lock them down even while the bid is ongoing before they win. So they will recruit them and put them on a salary.
Got it.
I mean, it works for some people. Sometimes, what if you don't win? You now be paying the salary thinking, I'll win another one. So that's just one scenario. Is one of the solutions, don't hire more than you can afford. Is expansion necessary? And then, okay, if you are really angry, let's say you cannot afford it. If you are angry that the staff, they are not performing, well, every time you have to pay, you are feeling like, what has it really done? Then let them go. Let them go and look for their urgent 2K somewhere else. You don't need to taunt them and they'll be wondering every month. So that my scenario. Apparently, the MD them felt like all of us in sales were fafas. So he just used to feel angry that, tell us to go. And most of them are eventually. So based on that summary, what do you think the solution is?
It's not a one-size-fits-all. First of all.
Okay. Definitely.
So it depends on the scenario with the company. In fact, in your example, you've given 2 different examples.
3 actually.
Exactly. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. So it's case by case. In a scenario, there are some companies, like you said, maybe they're in growth mode. They are in the growth phase, hyper growth phase. So they want to plan for the growth that they're expecting.
Yes.
And sometimes things don't pan out.
I don't know if that is a...
So I'll give you an example. A good example was, if you notice during, and this was for global companies, during COVID, a lot of global tech companies were hiring a lot. Developers, they were hiring. That's when developers, their mouths open up. What happened within 2-3 years? Because there was hyper growth then, but it had plateaued and the growth had. So you hear stories from like 2023, 2024, over the last 3 years, more or less, that they are getting rid of a lot of developers, getting rid of a lot of employees. Is that same scenario? So sometimes you're in a phase of hyper growth. You want to be able to hire to accommodate that growth. But unfortunately, and this is unfortunate, sometimes things don't pan out.
Yes.
Things change and you need to resize.
And so, resize fast. Does it have to get to salaries being delayed?
No. So that's where discipline and structure comes.
I think even compassion. Don't torture people. If you can't afford it, okay, yes, things have changed.
But it's hard. It's also hard to lay off people. It's not that easy.
Guess what? In my own scenario, apparently, when they realized that we can't really afford these people, they started laying off small. I understand that somebody on the board had told them that. Do you know that if you do 20 every quarter,
do it once,
the company people will hate you.
They will lose motivation. I've been there.
And the guy said, do it once. Rip off the band-aid.
Do it
he
once.
said no, they can manage.
No.
And guess what? At the end of the day, the CEO had to step down.
See, I've been in that scenario where, and this was early in my career, where that company that changed over. There was a period where for like 6 months at different times they're laying off people.
Quietly, some of them be quiet.
Everybody knew, but it was for such a long time that the air was not comfortable. Everybody was. You are coming into the office and
you're wondering. That's how I felt in that place.
Yeah. So
every 3 months, they were
that scenario I think is horrible.
Exactly.
If you are going to do it once.
Don't owe salaries too. Don't delay salaries.
That delaying one is just wicked.
Exactly.
As far as I'm concerned, especially if it is a habitual thing, it is wickedness, it is irresponsible. There's a word I'm looking for, but it's not clicking. It's just irresponsible. If we had, and I think they are doing better now, that FCCP, consumer protection. I think
if Nigerians will decide to start sending emails for late salaries, they can't read everything. People are suffering in silence.
You're right.
People are suffering. Sometimes I have a guy that's supposed to be a CEO of one famous company. The day he told me he has not collected salary in 2 months, I said, are you not the one that's supposed to be paying salaries?
So he
has not collected salaries from board or owners.
Really?
And he's CEO. So how many people want, if people tell you their stories? Anyway, to
round up, you asked me a question.
Yeah.
I'm returning it back to sender. You get into a role. Maybe it was things were happening. Normal. Then suddenly from nowhere, your salary starts getting delayed. What would you do? Would you take that as a red flag to start looking out, or will you remain loyal and understanding?
No, like I did in that last scenario where somebody told me he wasn't paid for Christmas. I asked somebody I felt was senior enough, discreet enough, and could relate to his a family man now, So I called him to my office. What's going on here? Is this how you used to do? So when he told me, I said, okay, we are in it. But like I said, the money was big. So
you were motivated to stay?
I was, but I was like, this money is sweet. So when there is a delay,
if the money wasn't big.
Now, if the money wasn't big, of course, I had enough information to say, something is going on it was that day that he now told me what had been going on in the company, money's owed, recruitment over expansion. So I felt like, okay, there's a whole lot of mess going on here. And I made the decision that day that, even though I wasn't instantly searching, I told myself, this is not where you stay for long. You will get frustrated. So maybe that's the answer. But I also knew that, it's also somewhere that they can lay you off suddenly.
So you were ready.
I had to be casually searching. Like, you have to plan. So the money is sweet, but it can just suddenly stop coming in. So I had to plan. I had to, and it was, out of how many months that I did there, the salary was late conveniently, maybe 7 months. But because it was heavy, you still have enough.
You had to. That's why you had a buffer.
But it wasn't the same for
a lot of, exactly, a lot of people that don't have.
And so the pay disparity was wide. Like, anyway, don't let me go into it.
I think that's another topic for another.
Before they go and code, I'm talking about.
Okay, with that, I think this is a topic.
The next topic. What's the next topic? What the real pay should be to survive in Lagos?
You want to do that?
We need to treat that. Yes.
You want to do that?
I want to know if I'm wrong.
But let's not go into the new topic. We'll work on that topic next.
Oh, wow.
Till then,
bye bye.
Cheers.